What would you do if the one person you trusted more than anyone in this world, your own little sister, looked you in the eyes every single day, smiled at you, hugged you, and told you she loved you, while secretly building a life on top of your heartbreak? Could you forgive that? Or would you make sure she never forgot what she did? Because Sophia didn't just lose a boyfriend. She lost her best friend, her sister, and the version of herself that believed family would never hurt you. And when the truth finally came out, it didn't come quietly. It came like a storm that swept through every corner of their family and left nothing standing. This is her story. Sophia Mercer was 24 years old and the kind of woman who made everything around her feel a little warmer. She grew up in a mid-sized town in Ohio, the older of two sisters, raised by a single mother who worked double shifts at a diner, and still managed to make Sunday dinners feel like a celebration. Money was tight, dreams were big, and Sophia carried both with a quiet kind of grace that most people twice her age hadn't figured out yet. She had warm brown eyes, curly hair she was always fighting with, and a laugh that could fill a room. She worked as a dental receptionist during the week and took online business classes at night because she had plans, a boutique, maybe, or an event planning company. Something that was hers. She wasn't perfect. She was stubborn sometimes. She cried at commercials. She over-apologized for things that weren't her fault. But she was real. And she was loyal in the way that only certain people are loyal, the kind where you never had to question it. Her sister Jade was 21. 3 years younger and somehow always 3 steps ahead in the ways that mattered to nobody good. Jade was charming. Effortlessly pretty. The kind of girl who walked into a room and made people forget who else was in it. Their mother adored her. Neighbors loved her. Everyone thought she was sweet, soft, and harmless. Sophia loved her completely. That was her first mistake. His name was Derek. Derek Calloway came into Sophia's life on a rainy Tuesday in October, when he stopped to help her change a flat tire on the side of Route 9. He was 26, worked in IT, had a dog named Biscuit and a habit of leaving sticky notes with dumb jokes on the fridge. He made her feel steady, safe, like the world wasn't something to survive but something to actually live in. They dated for 2 years. Sophia introduced him to everyone. Her mother, her coworkers, her friends, and Jade. Jade, who smiled at Derek the first time she met him and said, "Sophia, he's perfect. Don't mess this up." Sophia had laughed, told her she wasn't planning on it. She didn't know then that Jade wasn't just observing. She was studying. The first signs were things Sophia talked herself out of. Derek getting quieter during family dinners. His phone lighting up more at night. A change in the way he laughed, faster, like he was nervous. She noticed the way women always notice, and then she told herself she was paranoid. She was overthinking. She was being the person she hated, the girlfriend who didn't trust. She asked Derek once if everything was okay. He said yes. Kissed her forehead. Said he'd been stressed at work. She believed him. A few weeks later, Jade told her that Derek had actually called her recently, just to ask advice on what to get Sophia for her birthday. Wasn't that sweet? Wasn't that the kind of man Sophia deserved? Sophia smiled and said yes. She felt guilty for ever doubting him. The relationship ended on a Sunday. Derek sat across from Sophia at their kitchen table, the same table where they'd eaten 100 meals, laughed at terrible movies, planned a road trip they never took, and he told her very calmly that he didn't think they were right for each other anymore. That he cared about her but the feelings had changed. That he was sorry. He wouldn't look her in the eye. Sophia didn't cry in front of him. She nodded, said okay, kept her voice even until he was gone. Then she sat on the bathroom floor for an hour and let herself fall apart in private, the way she always did. She called Jade. Jade picked up on the second ring, said all the right things. Told Sophia he didn't deserve her. Said she was going to come over. Brought ice cream and bad reality TV and stayed until midnight. Sophia thought, at least I have my sister. 3 months passed. Sophia healed the slow way. Through routine and work and late night studying and occasional dinners with friends, she stopped checking Derek's social media. She started sleeping through the night again. She signed up for a small business workshop and felt something she hadn't felt in a while. Hope. And then the invitation arrived. It came in the mail on a Thursday morning. A thick ivory envelope with her name written in a font that was trying very hard to look elegant. She opened it at the kitchen counter with one hand while holding her coffee with the other. It took her brain a full 10 seconds to understand what she was reading. You are cordially invited to celebrate the engagement of Derek Calloway and Jade Mercer. The coffee cup hit the floor. She read it again. And again. The words didn't change. The names didn't shift. It was real. It was printed. It was mailed to her home. Her boyfriend. Her sister. Engaged. She called her mother first. Her mother's voice was careful in a way that told Sophia immediately that she already knew. Sophia, honey, I wanted to tell you but Jade asked me to wait until. How long? Sophia asked. Silence. Mom, how long have you known? A few months. Sophia hung up. She sat completely still for a long time. Not crying. Not shaking. Just processing the architecture of the betrayal. How long had it been happening? During the relationship? After? How many family dinners had Derek and Jade sat across from her, passing bread, asking about her day, smiling? How many times had Jade told her Derek wasn't good enough, while texting him under the table? She thought about the night Jade came over with ice cream, comforting her, holding her hand, telling her she deserved better. She thought about how Jade must have felt during that. Jade called that evening. Sophia, please let me explain. You were there the night he broke up with me, Sophia said. Her voice was quiet, steady. You held my hand. I know it looks. Were you already together? Pause. We weren't. It wasn't official, we hadn't. Were you already together, Jade? Another pause. Smaller this time. Yes. Sophia ended the call. She didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She didn't do any of the things she felt like doing. She just sat there and let the truth settle into her bones like cold weather. And then she started thinking. Here's what most people didn't know about Sophia Mercer. She was quiet. But she was not soft. Not when it mattered. She had spent 2 years watching Jade charm her way through consequences. Cancel plans and get apologies in return. Take things that weren't hers and smile until people forgot to be upset. She had watched her mother defend Jade through every mess she made. And Sophia had always been the bigger person. Not this time. She started small. She went through her phone, 2 years of photos, messages, shared memories with Derek, and she found something she hadn't thought much about at the time. A conversation from 8 months ago. A text thread where Derek had asked Jade to keep a surprise anniversary dinner secret from Sophia. Jade's response, of course. I'm always here for you. One reply. 8 words. But the timestamp was everything. That was 4 months before the breakup. 4 months before it was supposedly just innocent. Sophia screenshot it. Saved it. And then she kept looking. There was more. Not because Sophia went digging obsessively, she wasn't that kind of person, but because once you know what you're looking for, things have a way of surfacing. A mutual friend mentioned offhand that she'd seen Derek's car parked outside Jade's apartment complex back in the summer. Another friend remembered a comment Jade had made at a party, something about Derek being exactly the kind of man she wanted someday, that everyone had laughed off as a joke. It wasn't a joke. Sophia compiled everything quietly, not frantically. She wasn't doing this out of rage. She was doing it out of clarity. She called her Aunt Linda, her late father's sister, the one family member who had always seen Jade clearly and never said so out loud out of politeness. Sophia, Linda said when she heard everything. What do you need? I need you to be at Mom's birthday dinner next weekend. I'll be there. The birthday dinner was held at their mother's house, The same house they'd grown up in, the same dining table, the same floral centerpiece their mom brought out for every occasion. Jade and Derek arrived together, holding hands, looking like a magazine advertisement for something Sophia used to have. Derek couldn't look at Sophia. Jade could. That was the thing about Jade. She looked directly at people even when she shouldn't. It was a skill. Or maybe it was something else. Dinner started normally. Polite conversation. Their mother trying desperately to hold the room together with warmth she clearly felt uncertain about. Sophia waited until dessert. She stood up quietly, the way people do when they're about to make a toast, and the table went still. "I want to say something," she said calmly. "I've been doing a lot of thinking this month, and I realize there are things this family needs to know." Jade's hand moved slightly under the table. Sophia set her phone in the middle of the table, screen facing up, and played a voicemail on speaker. It was Jade's voice. From 6 months ago. Talking to a friend who had, when all of this came out, felt guilty enough to share it. In the voicemail, Jade was laughing, describing how she'd been talking to Derek for months, how she knew Sophia suspected nothing, how she was just waiting for the right moment. The table went silent in a way that rooms rarely go silent. Their mother's face changed slowly, like a sky before rain. Derek stared at the phone. Aunt Linda, who had been quietly cutting her cake this whole time, set down her fork and looked at Jade with the expression of someone who had waited a long time to be proven right. "Jade," their mother said. One word. But it carried years. Jade opened her mouth. Closed it. The charm didn't come. The smile didn't come. For the first time in Sophia's memory, her sister had nothing to say. Sophia didn't yell. She didn't need to. She picked up her phone, thanked her mother for dinner, hugged Aunt Linda and walked to the door. She paused with her hand on the frame and looked back once. Not at Jade, not at Derek, but at her mother. "I love you, Mom," she said. "But I needed you to know who she actually is." She left. She cried in her car for 20 minutes. That part was real too. Revenge is not painless just because it's deserved. But somewhere in those 20 minutes something lifted. Some weight she hadn't realized she'd been carrying. The weight of being the good one, the quiet one, the one who absorbed everything and said nothing. It loosened. Not completely, but enough. She drove home. Métis sat by the window. Her phone buzzed with a text from Aunt Linda. "You did the right thing. I'm proud of you. Your dad would be too." Then one from her mother an hour later. "I'm sorry, Sophia. I should have told you. I should have done a lot of things differently. Can we talk this week?" Sophia looked at that message for a long time. She typed back, "Yes. I'd like that." 6 months later, Sophia's small business workshop turned into a real business plan. She found a small commercial space downtown and signed a lease she'd saved 2 years for. She and her mother started having Sunday phone calls again. Slow, careful, but real. She heard through family that Derek and Jade's engagement didn't survive the dinner. That they'd broken up 2 months after. She didn't feel happy about that exactly. She felt nothing about it, which was its own kind of freedom. What she felt, what she carried forward, was something she could only describe as clearness. Like a window someone had finally cleaned. She was 24 years old. She had a business, a mother she was learning to trust again, an aunt who showed up when it counted, and a name that was only hers. She had lost a sister, but she had found herself. And some mornings, standing in her empty little shop with paint samples taped to the wall and a coffee in her hand and her whole life still ahead of her, she thought that might be the best trade she ever made.